Hello, my name is Meg, and if you're new, I make naturally colored soaps and candles and bath treats, and this is the last soap to show you for April. And here I'm putting in some spirulina that's mixed with the olive oil, just so that it goes into the batter nicely incorporated in. I will be doing indigo for the sky. You'll see that in a bit. And that is with a long infusion of olive oil. And if you're interested in any of that, please check out my channel where I have other videos where I show you how I do infusions. And I think I will do a new video coming up soon about that, about how I use natural colors in different ways. And so next I'll be putting in the little extruded pieces, and they are little flower pots and flowers in them. And they are colored with rose clay, yellow Brazilian clay, some more lighter spirulina for the leaves, and cocoa powder for the little flower pots. And let me tell you, this one was one that was kind of hard, as far as you work so hard on those extruded pieces, and in the end I think the little flower pots are a little sideways, and that's okay, because that's just the nature of doing these complicated extruded pieces. There's actually a part later on where I'll point it out where the flower pot cracked in half and came off of the piece. And if I had left in the sound, you would have heard me gasp like, because it was just, oh no. You work so hard to attach the pieces together, and it's just all so tricky, but that's just the nature of it too. It's a humbling thing to make soap. I always say it's very spiritual, because you can have the best plans, the best intentions, and it just can turn out wonky, crooked, sideways, tipped over, and it just will humble you again to know that it's not so much skill, really. It's just kind of the luck of the draw. Essential oil blend that I put into the ground part, and I'll put the other half of the bottle into the sky, is another one of my favorites to use for spring and summer. It's called Joy, and it's bergamot, ylang ylang, geranium, jasmine, palmarosa, and rose essential oils. See, there was the part where the flower pot came off. And I was just, trying, because you got to get it in there as carefully as possible now, because now it's in pieces and not attached together anymore. And that's why I think it turned out a little crooked. But all in all, you'll see in the end, I still think they look really cute. And maybe it's just a windy day that day, right? And as I've shown on my channel before, the best times to do these landscape soaps is when you can take 2 batches and split them in half, which is what I did for this one. You just didn't see it, but you put the ground in on two different soaps, and then you can put the little pieces in so that they stay as upright as possible. And then you wait about an hour or so, melt your oils for your next batch, and then the next batch will be the 2 skies on the 2 soaps. In my experience, that's what works out the best as far as that of hoping that you won't have things tip over. I have learned lessons the hard way, and even at that, even though I did it that way this time as well, and you see here my green batter is pretty thick, it's always just tricky, and that's just the way it goes. And here comes the indigo infusion for the skies, and it has been infusing slowly for the past couple of months. I've shown that before. That is the best way I find to get the indigo, and it's the longer it infuses, the more beautiful it gets. Madder root is also the same, and annatto. The longer an annatto infusion can go, the better yellows and oranges and golds and stuff that you'll be able to get. I am going to experiment here real soon after the summertime with mixing maybe 2 and make an infusion, because I've never done that before, so I'm excited to try. And indigo is such a magic natural colorant. It made such a beautiful blue on this soap's essential oil blend, but then on the sky on the other one it did something different completely. So again, you just never know the alchemy of it, of the particular essential oils that you use for the smell. They interact with the indigo in different ways. I've seen all kinds of crazy colors that it has made over the years. Sometimes it's like turquoise even. Sometimes it changes from the wet batter to the next day. It'll be a completely different color. I think alkanet is also pretty magic in its color shifting like that too. And I learned that trick from one of my soap making heroes, Katie Carson. She always said to use your spatula and just tap it like that, bounce it is what she said, and it always works. Now here I'm putting the little pieces on top, and I sped it up because boy, this one took a long time to do. And I wanted to address, I always wear gloves in every other part except putting the pieces on top, and I know that is not the best and safest thing, but I have a very long experience making soap, and I am very careful. And I never talked about this, but I always have a wet washcloth, or several actually, right there off camera for my fingers. So every time I put in a piece, if I get a little on my finger, which I try not to, I can actually put the pieces right above it and drop them, and they fall pretty much into place without touching. But still, I have the wet rags, which you should always do anyway when you make soap, just for splatters and things to wipe it immediately. I also thoroughly wash my hands after I'm finished making soap. As a matter of fact, I usually change my clothes or take a shower altogether just to make sure I don't have any raw soap batter on my clothes or apron or anything, because I have, 2 little kids and don't want to give them a hug or something afterward and have a splatter there that you didn't realize was there. And I always wear long sleeves and pants, all of that safety things. It's just I cannot place these pieces wearing gloves. I have tried so many times. I've used tweezers too, and I just can't do it any other way. For the rest of the video, I haven't done this in a while, but I am a big fan of poetry my whole life, honestly. And this particular soap made me think of a poem that really saved me a lot about a year or so ago when I was going through some hard things, when my husband almost died from a very crazy emergency. But anyway, I want to share this poem with you because it touched me so much, and it made me think of this when I was designing this soap. So it goes, after a while, you learn the subtle difference between holding a hand and chaining a soul. And you learn that love doesn't mean leaning, and company doesn't mean security. And you begin to learn that kisses aren't contracts, and presents aren't promises. And you begin to accept your defeats with your head up and your eyes open, with the grace of a woman, not the grief of a child. And you learn to build all your roads on today, because tomorrow's ground is too uncertain for plans, and futures have a way of falling down in mid-flight. After a while, you learn that even sunshine burns if you get too much, so you plant your garden and decorate your own soul, instead of waiting for someone to bring you flowers. And you learn that you really can endure, that you really are strong, and you really do have worth. And you learn and learn with every goodbye you learn. The next shop update will be on the flower full moon on May 12th. And thank you so much for watching today. Take care.